Friends, it's September. I don't know about you, this is my favorite month and it always feels really exciting. It feels more like a new year than the, January New Year. I think that's because of all the kids going back to school, and it just always like there's a little bit of a change in the air, a change in the seasons and the weather, and I love it so much. This year I'm also going back to school. I'm taking a French course, so it's not exactly back to school, but it's back to school enough for me that I just feel really excited about this year, and I feel really excited about this month. And the way that I always used to celebrate back to school or celebrate September was to sort of make a little refresher in my wardrobe, not to buy all new things, but just think about what I want to be wearing this fall. And if you have been here before, you know that that means planning the things I'm going to make this year, or this fall anyways. So that's what we're going to get into today. I'm going to be talking you through some of my ideas and plans for what I'm going to be making this fall. I don't know that I will get to everything, to be honest, because things happen and it's going to be a really busy few months for us. We have a lot of people visiting us in our new place in Montreal. We also have some travel plans in November and December, and then me and my partner are both doing French classes, so there's a lot on the go. So there's no pressure for me to make anything. It'll kind of happen when it happens. So we're going to start off by looking at my Pinterest and seeing some of the images I've collected and how they kind of work together to put together some of the plans I have for my fall wardrobe. So looking at my Pinterest board, you can tell pretty immediately that there is, number one, a color palette, and number two, that there is a sort of theme going on. It's pretty neutral looking, and that's honestly not how I usually have been making things or pinning things or even gravitating towards in the summertime. I've been really embracing color, but I do find that after going so hard on color, I am kind of craving that neutral base again. And so you're seeing a lot of black, a lot of olive green, which I actually don't usually go for olive green, but I've been, again, sort of leaning into that color. Some like rust tones and some of my pops of blue, as well as a lot of beige, a lot of denim, gray, some pinks. And I've pinned a few images of these Doc Martens. Mine are a little bit different. I just bought some recently, but they're the 1461 Oxfords. And so I've been really loving the sort of like socks with the Oxfords. And this has really actually inspired a lot of thoughts around knitting this fall, because fun socks with Doc Martens is like a whole vibe. Let's go on to my actual planned makes, and we'll snowball from there. So the first thing, I'll show you some of the fabric that I have. I've got this amazing wild print that sort of, I guess, has all of the colors, or most of the colors from what I was showing you. And I think this has been the like jumping off point for me. So this is a pretty wild print. It's got a lot going on. It's like got a gingham, but then it's also got a bunch of colors, and then it's also sheer in part, like it's got like a sheer underlay. It's just so pretty. This is a Liberty silk that I got from We Are the Fabric store out of New Zealand, and when I saw this, why I was drawn to this is actually because of this leaf motif. And I saw a image of Brittany Bathgate wearing this white top with this lovely leaf motif, and hers is super minimalist. This is not minimalist at all, but I just love this motif so much, and I thought that it was a fun way to maybe make a blouse like that, but with this kind of print. So just like a simple, probably end up being like a Gilbert top, maybe with long sleeves, or the MS Classic shirt, something really, really basic, like just a basic shirt. And then this being like obviously the statement, because it is super statement-y. I guess this is really quite like a maximalist print, but I think the colors are just exactly what I love. It's got dark blues and browns and black and lighter blues. And I think this is just like the sort of perfect thing to add into my wardrobe as a fun like statement piece. And so this is something that I really have in mind that I want to make. And like, again, I think it'll probably be like a modern sewer classic shirt or a Gilbert top. I haven't fully decided yet. So that's my first top. And on the note of that sort of classic shape, I have a few. This is one of them. This is a really soft, like light pin, what do you call this? It's a stripe. It's like a micro stripe. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'll hold it up to the camera, but I want to make just a couple plain button-ups, and I have a few fabrics like this. So I think likely after I make that one, I'll gauge how long it takes and try to get a couple of these out, because I think that they would be a really awesome staple to have, especially as we get into sweater season, yay, but like really easy to layer underneath sweaters, especially ones that are maybe a little bit itchy. So those kind of go together. I have, like I said, a few fabrics like this that I think would just make really perfect button-ups. And now that I'm going through this pile, I realized I put this fabric in. This is sort of like a sweatshirting fabric, and I'm really, now that it's here, I'm not feeling very inspired by this, so I'm just gonna toss that away, because I'm really trying to like feel excited about the things that I want to make, and that is not sparking joy. So we're gonna put that away and we're gonna focus on this. The next thing, if you've been on this channel before, you probably have seen this, because it is more or less included in every single planning video. I'm sorry, but it's this railroad stripe fabric, and I'm gonna make overalls. And I'm either gonna use the Harleen overall pattern from Merchant Mills, or I'm gonna use the Jenny overalls, which I've already made overalls and trousers from this pattern. So I honestly, I think it's the reason why I've just haven't been using or haven't started this, is that it just feels like a bigger project, and I haven't wanted to get into big projects. But now that it's fall, I'm gonna be probably indoors a little bit more. It's not fall, but it's gonna be fall, and I will be indoors a little bit more. And so I think that's kind of the time to get into these like juicy, deep projects. And so this really is a priority for me. I'm actually currently making a pair of jeans, and then maybe I'll do like a palette cleanser top or dress, and then do these overalls. Because I know going from like a pair of jeans to go into these is just gonna maybe feel like too much. We'll see. If I'm like in the momentum, I'm like, yes, 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 hard pants, let's pump them out, then I'll do it. But there's a good chance that that's not how I'll feel. We'll see. We'll see how the jeans go. If they go well, who knows? If they go poorly, that's a whole other story. So I'll put this baby back here. And then sort of one last summery dress. I've got this amazing big ditzy, is this a ditzy floral? I don't know. I have this big floral print that I love so much. It's just stunning. And I think I'm gonna make a sort of 3/4, probably like this kind of length of a dress. And I think this will be a really great transition dress. I think it'll be really cute with my little docs and socks situation that I am planning. So I haven't really fully figured out what I want to do with this. I'm thinking probably some sort of flouncy dress, something like empire waist and just like, you know, kind of like farmer's market vibes. That's what I'm thinking for this. I could probably do the skimwork Benning. I've made that before. I think it would look really cute with this because it's a bit more of a structured material, so it'll add that volume, which will be really pretty. But yeah, I think that getting one more dress in will be really nice. And it's always fun to do like a dress to kind of like break up the monotony a little bit, you know? Before I do that, I do want to also talk about a few other things I don't necessarily have fabric for, but that I have some big plans around. So I think this year I'm gonna make a quilted coat, and not a quilt coat, a quilted coat, meaning I'm going to make the layers and quilt them myself. And that's because I've had in my brain this Kordal jacket for ages, honestly years. I've had this in my Pinterest board, and I've loved it ever since. And I really, really want to make something like this. I've almost bought it a couple times, but it's US dollars, and the exchange rate just honestly would end up being like an $800 coat. And for something that's not even like a winter coat, that's really hard for me to justify. So all that aside, I was looking up the composition of the jacket to see kind of how I would want to make it. And I would probably do either like the Hovea jacket pattern or like the all-well box cardigan or all-well cardigan jacket, one of those patterns. And I already have some batting that I thrifted. I've got everything kind of set. I would do it with probably a cotton canvas because they use a cotton canvas, and then a softer sort of lining fabric. I'm not sure what that would be yet. Maybe something a little like slippery so I could comfortably layer sweaters underneath it. But this is a project I've really been wanting to do for a long time and have had, I think I now have kind of like the skill. It's not something super complicated, but I do think that I could execute it fairly well now. So that's gonna be something I really wanna make. I'm just sort of planning out what fabric exactly to use for that, to see if I have something already, and if I don't, then trying to decide what that fabric would be. And I think that's it for like the bigger sewing projects. I do have a plan to make something for my partner for his birthday, but I'm not gonna share with you what that is just yet, because I think I'm gonna do a whole video on it, potentially. He's not the most comfortable with social media, so I don't wanna like involve him, but maybe I'll just I'll show you like the process, because I think it's gonna be really special, and I've got like a really specific idea around how I wanna do it. So anyways, let's get into the knitting stuff. And I'm really excited about knitting. I have a few fun ideas and a few yarns already kind of at home. So we'll just get into that. Starting with yarns that are maybe not so fun, but are practical and beautiful in their own. So this first one is, I believe it's a llama, sorry, not camel, it's a llama wool from Illimani. They're a Quebec-based yarn company, I do believe. It's so pretty, so soft. It's baby llama. It's got a bit of its own sort of fuzzy halo around it, if you can see like that. And initially I was planning on holding it together with Trenchcoat from Knitting for Olive, their mohair. And I think that would be quite pretty. Let me see if I can, oh, it's all falling all over the place. You can see it like that. But wait, let my yarn just rolled away, 1 second. Then I found putty, this leftover of putty in my stash from a sweater that I made. And this just seems like a really sweet combination like that. But I think I'm gonna swatch both and then see which one gives me more of like the color that I'm going for. Because what I wanna make is cardigan number 7 from My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I did talk about how I don't wanna make a lot of her patterns anymore because her patterns are just not size inclusive. That said, I did buy a bunch of them before I made that plan. As a newer sweater knitter person, I bought a bunch of her patterns because I loved her aesthetic. And now I'm realizing that they're not size inclusive, but I don't want to not make them because I already own them, you know? Anyways, so I think I'm gonna swatch both of these. I'm feeling like this will probably win, but I haven't decided. And then part of me also is like, maybe I'll just use like a mohair that also has like some like speckles in it to like kind of bring out some fun vibes in this. I don't know yet. I'm going into the yarn store I work at this week, and I'll probably make a call then. So that's that. This will be a cardigan number 7, whatever this combination ends up being. And then I've got this lovely hand-dyed yarn. This is a DK single ply. This is actually a like test skein from the yarn store that I work at. They gave all of the employees, you know, one of their testers, and this is just gonna be the perfect hat. I'm gonna absolutely make, I think, the Purl Soho basic ribbed hat, whatever that is. Free pattern, I believe it's a free pattern. Yeah, one skein, perfect. I haven't knit a hat in ages, and this is so squishy. It's so soft. I can't remember what the composition is, but it's just lovely. It's like a grayish, that perfect grayish color that all the minimalist babes loves, including myself. So those are the things that I have physically here for my plans that are tangible. And then for what I want to, one of my like, not, I don't even know if this would be a bigger project. I think it definitely will be a bigger project. I really love these Acne scarves. They've been all over my Pinterest and on TikTok, and they're just, I will not spend that much money on a scarf. Probably spend that much money on yarn to knit a scarf, ridiculous. But no, I get a discount at the yarn store, so it won't be that much. But I found this pattern that is gonna be coming out from the new Laine magazine, and I'm gonna buy it because I love everything that is in that magazine for this season. It's amazing, beautiful. But this scarf immediately jumped out to me, especially sort of the top portion. I don't really love the color work where it gets a little bit more patterny and intricate, but where it specifically is like overlapping these colors reminds me a lot of the Acne scarf, and even the colors that they chose. So I think that I'll probably try to make something like that. And I think that kind of pop of color with like the neutrals of everything else that I'm making will just be really lovely, especially with that like Kordal inspired jacket. Oh, so amazing. I really, really want that. That might end up being more of like a winter project, like a winter, yeah, that might end up being more of like a fall into the winter project, but that's fine. You know, it's a slow game. Recently, the other thing I'm really excited about is getting into sock knitting because of my dogs. So stupid. But I really want to make the ruffle sock from Petite Knit, but then I also pre-ordered the colorful Charming Colourwork Sock book from Charlotte Stone, Stone Knits, I believe, on Instagram and on Ravelry. And I first saw her patterns from Lisa's Knit Club on YouTube. She's just so lovely and charming. And so I thought it would be so fun to just make a bunch of little cute printed socks. And they could also be good for Christmas gifts and stuff too. So that's, I think, gonna be the two books I'm really excited to lean into are, yeah, the Laine magazine, this fall issue that's coming out, especially that scarf, and then also the Charlotte Stone Colourwork Socks. And I think those are gonna be my big plans, honestly, for the fall. I've got a few other things in my stash. This is shameful in here. Anyway, it's shameful, but I've got a few other things. This is hilarious. These are so different. I can't believe they're both just side by side in my stash. This is Estelle Eco Harmony worsted. And then this is Knitting for Olive merino and Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. And this is the colorway Brown Nougat, I believe. I've already used this a little bit, but I have a ton of this. And so this will be a sweater of some sort. Maybe the, what it'll probably end up being is the gingerbread sweater from Espace Tricot. And because that's like the perfect gingerbread sweater right there. And then, oh my gosh, I should definitely cast that on. Yeah, what am I thinking? Free pattern too. And then this is the Eco Harmony worsted. And then I think, honestly, I'll probably get a, some mohair, some like purple mohair. It would be so cute, or like a speckled colored mohair to go with this. Oh, this color would look so lovely on me too. Purple, recently into purple. And so yeah, this is another idea. And again, part of that like splash of color here and there. I don't know, identity crisis, whatever you might call it. So yeah, I think this is the general vibe for my fall plans. Chaotic, probably gonna change a lot, but very excited. And I think that's the video. So if you liked all of that, give this video a thumbs up, follow along if you're not, because I know like half of you who watch my videos are not subscribed. and I would really love if you just joined in. I am also thinking of maybe doing a once monthly live stream where we can like knit or work on our projects together, you know, whether you can piece together your PDF patterns, I can piece together my PDF patterns, and we can just chat, knit, whatever. I'd love to do it once a month, probably Sunday afternoons, Eastern time, so like 3 p.m. Eastern time. So I think that's like a pretty comfy time zone for a lot of people. But let me know, is that something that you would want to tune into? I'm a little nervous about a live because it feels like a birthday party where, you know, if you like invite a bunch of people and no one shows up, that's how I feel about the live. But even if 3 people show up, honestly, that's like still more friends than I have in Montreal. So yeah, let me know if you would come to something like that. I think that would be really fun. And if you want more everyday content about sewing, knitting, making my own things, all that good stuff, then please follow me on Instagram and TikTok, because I post pretty much daily there. More on TikTok than on Instagram these days though, because the algorithm. But I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you sooner rather than later. Bye.